things out. See, the more stressed the man is, the more he blocks things out. The more stressed the woman is, the less she blocks things out, and the more she remembers everything. So he's trying to forget stuff, she's remembering everything. It's almost as if sometimes, if she just can say what all the problems are, this is going on, this didn't happen, why this happened, I don't know what's going on here, what are we going to do about this, and the bank account's overdrawn, there's mouse turds in my bedroom, what are we going to do with this mouse, I don't know, and she's going on talking about this and this and this and this. After she has a chance to move through all that, then she'll go, huh. Meanwhile, the guy who listened to that is like, oh my God. He counted, that's 25 problems that are unsolved. And he's depressed. See, women talk about problems, men get depressed because they don't understand. He believes that she can't be happy until all those problems are solved. That's his thinking, because he'll tend to forget about all the problems except one problem. And he can't be happy till that problem's solved. And if he can't solve it, then he has to just forget them all. So he cuts it out. So if he remembers a problem, then he's like, I got to solve it. Like sometimes the most annoying thing has happened when I'd be going to bed. My wife says, well, how did that meeting go with so-and-so? I almost forgot it. And she thinks she's being all loving. You see how that works? It's a loving act. You do what's loving on your planet, and it just like throws the other person into a spin. And if you don't understand this, then you'll feel, I guess we're just too different. I guess we're just not right for each other. I guess I just can't be me and give you the love that you need or get the love that I need. It's not about the differences. You wouldn't be attracted to each other if there weren't differences. Passion comes from differences. If you want a very peaceful, calm, comfortable relationship where you always get along with no challenges, find somebody that you're not attracted to. You know, lots of people have this question that comes up in their mind. Well, John, is this nature or is this nurture? Meaning, is this biological? Are these just determined differences and they're just the way they are and there's nothing we can do about it? Or is all this like conditioned into us and so you can change it all? The answer to that question is yes. Yes, it is all biologically determined, and yes, it is all conditioned into us. And what do I mean by that? Think of a woman as gold. Think of a man as silver. A little boy comes out silver. A little girl comes out gold. You can't change that. There's certain things about women, their hormones, their brain structure, the way their whole... Hormones is the big thing. Brain is the other big thing. Okay, well, I'll simplify it. You could go into other differences, but that's basically it. You could actually reduce down and explain almost all these differences just by one hormone difference, higher testosterone. When you have higher testosterone, you appear like you're from Mars. When you have lower testosterone, you appear like you're from Venus. Now, it's much more complicated than that, but I like to focus on that one difference because there are some women that hear John Gray talk about men are from Mars, and they hear this, and they think, what is he talking about? I don't relate to this. Who are these women that need to talk all the time? I don't need to talk all the time. I want to get something done. I'm efficient. I'm accomplished. I'm going to do this, and I want my cave, and I'm going to do my thing. And yes, that's true for her. So she doesn't relate to this material. Not everybody will relate to this material because some women, a minority, but some, do have very high testosterone levels. Most women do not. Almost all men have these high testosterone levels. So what we're talking about here is a basic aggression. See, there's other hormones. There's dopamine, which makes us like dopes. Dopamine is very high in men, which makes us very goal-oriented. Men are Martians, high levels of testosterone, dopamine people. What they tend to feel is a need to be independent. You know, I want to get in my car and drive off into the sunset, that kind of thing. If I'm in a bad mood, all I do is get in my car and drive off, and I get in a better mood. I know certain things I do that just make me happy. I go to one of those shoot-'em-up movies or, you know, a big action movie or something. You see those things, they're filled with guys. They all go in there, and there's some bad guy taking over the world. They come in to save the world. Everybody gets eliminated, and they come out, I saved the world. What that is that's expressing all those pent-up feelings, powerless feelings, like I can't get what I want done. I can't express this. I can't change this. So you act it out through the movies. You feel a bit better. So it's independence. I can do. I'm a can-do guy. And when I say that, I'm not saying women are not can-do women. The difference is when they're under stress, what they're going to feel a need for is not to be independent. they're going to feel a need for intimacy. When a Martian is under stress, many times what he needs is to feel independent. I got to do it myself. You can see a little boy. Mothers all see this with their little boys. Nobody doubts the differences between men and women when they have boys and girls. You see it right there. Little boy's tying his shoes. Mom's trying to help him. Nope, I can do it myself. I can do it myself. I'm going to do it myself. Get away, get away, get away. He's got to prove he can do it himself. So a man feels his need to be independent, feel good about himself. Then, as soon as he feels good about himself and he feels independent, self-sufficient, he will suddenly feel another need. And that's the need for intimacy. And so what he does, he goes into her world, he's intimate, and then boom, he wants to get out. It's as simple as that. It's like this rubber band. Here's a rubber band. What he does is he pulls away from her to be independent. He goes to his cave, he goes to work, he goes for driving his car, he does his own thing, he does what he wants to do. Nobody's telling me what to do. That's kind of a independent thing. Once he's out there and he feels free and independent, then he misses her, and he wants to get close. And he springs. See, there's a spring. That's when he's most romantic. You've all noticed that, women. Sometimes he's so interested in you. He just wants to get closer and closer and closer. He's been away, and now he wants to get closer. And then once he's close, flat. It's just like this. He gets close, no action. He needs to pull back. And a lot of men don't pull back. They don't have permission. Their wife gets so upset when they pull back, they don't do it. Women, on the other hand, are not so much like rubber bands. Women are more like waves. And here's a little wave machine. See the wave? It goes up, and then it goes down. It goes up, it goes down. Now, this is the way emotions are. This is the way feelings are. And women tend to be more connected to the feeling, nurturing part of life. And you see that there's a little fish there. It's a little whale. He's just getting all beaten up by this wave. And that's what happens to men. When that wave goes up, a woman's like full of love. It's like a man can do no wrong. And then instantly, when the wave hits the peak, it crashes. So if I understand that, then I know that there's times she's going to be up, times she's going to be down. I shouldn't expect that I can somehow keep her up all the time. But when she's coming down, I can be nurturing. I can learn the things. I can be a good listener. I can be affectionate. I can be attentive at those times. And if I can't, that means I need to go take my time. Because if you can't give to your partner, the first step you need to do is give to yourself. So the bottom line is that we come in with certain differences, and we're also conditioned. And like, for example, the emptying the trash thing. If I'd seen my dad emptying the trash every day, I would have been happy to empty the trash. For me, it was a learned behavior that's taken many years, and still I forget to do it. But I'm willing to do it. Now, women say, well, you should do it. You can't should a man. Conditioning takes time. And so the way you you change anything is you accept a person the way they are, then you start giving them what they need, learning what they need. As they get more what they need, they're more willing to give more in the relationship. Then you start asking for more, and I'm going to teach you more about how to ask for support. But the first step, which we'll talk about in our next part of the program, is how to give your partner their unique needs. Once they get what their needs, then we'll go to the next part of the program, is then how to get what you need. So right now, we'll just take a short break, and then we'll come back and explore that. Thank you very much. When you can give someone what they need, then they fill up with love. And when they're full of love, they become the person you married or the person you first met. Why is it that we love people so much in the beginning? It's because we really don't know each other yet. we just meet someone. We don't know them. We don't know their history. So we can anticipate. We can imagine how great it's going to be. In our imagination of how great it's going to be, we fall deeply in love. However, that doesn't last because we realize this person is not perfect, and no person is perfect. No person can give us everything we need all the time. And being in a relationship is not like, oh, I found this perfect person who always gives me everything I need. It's being in a relationship is I found this perfect person who sometimes gives me what I need and sometimes challenges me more than anybody else in the world. That's what a relationship is sometimes. You're drawn to someone who you're different from. To harmonize with somebody you're different from is much more challenging than to hang out with your buddies or your people who have similar interests and so forth. But when you have somebody who's different, to harmonize, that's a big challenge. But when you overcome that challenge, you become a better person. And when you face those challenges, when you learn to forgive, when you learn to accept, when you learn to truly care, when you make your partner sometimes more important than you, that's the test of love. When you give without demanding something in return. See, giving and demanding something in return, you get that in business. It can all be in business, but we don't want just business relationships. We want a relationship where we feel no obligation, that our partner's not obligated to us. That's one of the big problems in relationships is we think, well, I did this. We keep score inside of ourselves. I did this, I did this, I did this. And look, he's given me nothing. And I have to say it's the women who are like the big scorekeepers. Even though like men are really into sports and keeping score, men don't really think about the score much in relationships. They do that on TV and in sports and so forth. Women don't like admit it. But it's not that they come to counseling after 23 years and they say, this guy's given me nothing. I did this, 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 and I got nothing. And when he hears that, he goes, well, why'd you stay in the marriage? He would have left a long time ago. But the irony is that when a woman starts reporting the score, suddenly a man has sudden memory of his scorecard. And he says, well, if you're going to complain about that, then I'm going to complain about this. And the mistake we make when we keep score like that is that we say to ourselves, I gave, I should get. The real purpose of intimacy is to share me. Intimacy. I want to show you me. I want to give you me. I want to help you and support you in my life. I just get off on that. That's what makes me happy, is to love you. That's what brings us together. Think about it. You don't like meet somebody, oh, I can get this, I can get this, I can get this. Think, oh, he's so wonderful. Oh, she's so wonderful. You want to give. That's what it's about. Then we give, and then when we don't get back what we think we should get, then we start feeling this resentment inside. Well, I gave and I didn't get. And here's another way out of that loop, because that's what dooms relationships. Another way out of that loop is to simply go, hey, I'm here to give, and I'm going to give as much as I have to give. But if I don't have enough to give, then I'm not going to keep giving. See, our big problem in the West is we go in debt. We give more than we have. We don't live within our means. So we give, and we give, and then we say, now you owe me. You're in debt to me. As opposed to saying, okay, I'm going to give and give what I have to give, and then if I have nothing left to give, and I need something, I'm going to go get that need met myself, not depending on you. I'm not dependent on my partner to fill all my needs. This is what brings peace into your marriage, is when you don't look to your partner for everything. You don't keep track. When you go, well, I gave this and he didn't give this, then you go, okay, go off and get what you need. Take time to be with your friends. Go do things you enjoy doing. And a lot of women go, well, everything will go to fall apart without me. I say, then you have to make a choice. Do you want it to be together, or are you going to take care of yourself? And the real choice is you have to take care of yourself. Having happiness within yourself is more important than whether the house is in perfect order. It's more important than if your kids get to school on time every day. It is. It's more important if every homework assignment gets done. It's more important than if we have a full big meal. It's more important than volunteering to help the school or whatever. Those are all good things, but you've got to put yourself in front of that. And one of the big problems in marriages today is that women have all been taught in their 20s to accommodate, to give. They're conditioned. Be a good girl. Smile. Don't complain. Don't think of yourself. Don't be selfish. Now, when we talked about nature and nurture, by nature, biological, women have this hormone called oxytocin. And it makes them want to just give to people. Nurturing. Like if I brought a little baby into this room, I got my little baby. Ladies, what would your response be? That's oxytocin. Just the thought of a baby brings up oxytocin. Now, this is the difference between Mars and Venus. Men, I'm bringing out, here's my new baby. Anybody want to hold it? No big deal. So by nature, women are going to be accommodating, thinking of others. By nature, automatically. You're taught it's not okay to want more. You're taught it's not okay to be upset when you don't get more. You shouldn't be angry. You shouldn't be upset. You shouldn't cry. You should just be happy, be accommodating, go with the flow, and please people, please people. Well, already girls are too pleasing. That's their nature is to please. Then you condition them to be that way. Then they're going to become overly that way, and then there'll be problems later in life. So that's why this understanding of Mars-Venus is so important. I'm going to talk about what women's needs are, their primary needs. I'm going to talk about what men's primary needs are. So there are basically 6 love needs that a woman has and 6 love needs that a man has. The first 2 types of love I'm going to talk about is trust and caring. Now I want you to notice how reciprocal these are. If I'm very caring towards you, I'm attentive to you, I open the door for you, I say, oh, would you like this? What's your first reaction towards me? Nice guy? A guy I can trust. If you demonstrate caring, if you care for someone, if you're considerate of them, if you take their needs and feelings into consideration, then they will trust you more. So, first lesson for men. If you want a wife to be happy, she has to be open to you. That's what men want. Men want women to open up. Okay? Open up to me. He comes home, he wants her to go, you're here. Rarely will that happen, guys. Okay? And if the wave has crashed, it's not going to happen. You know, they say, and I don't want to make it, don't take this comparison literally, but it is meaningful to understand men. They say a man's best friend is what? A dog. Now, what is it about a dog that makes a man bond with the dog? This unconditional love, a dog is always happy to see you when you get home. He'll give his life for that dog. He cries, he mourns. Sometimes women complain, he loves the dog more than me. What is that dog doing? He's meeting a particular need. He's happy to see him. Oh, you're, okay, I'll go for a walk with you. Okay, I'll do that. Now, I'm not telling women to do this, but I'm letting you know what makes men feel really good. That's why men have so much love to give in the beginning of the relationship, as I said before. You don't know him yet. So it's kind of like, okay, maybe he's a good guy. You just go, okay, he's good, so you're like, give him a chance. Then after many years, well, he's not this, he didn't do this, he didn't do this, no way. You know, sometimes guys say, okay, honey, I'm going to make this change. He goes, yeah, I'll see it when I believe it. There's no motivation for him to change then. He's not getting what he needs. Now, ideally, he can still move through, but if you want to support your partner, whenever you can possibly give the benefit of the doubt. So as I'm talking about this, I'm not saying love is subjecting yourself to sacrifice. But when you are full in yourself, how do you love a man? By trusting. So here's some examples how trusting. I feel loved and trusted as a man when my wife doesn't interrogate me on how I spent money this afternoon. Or when she doesn't offer unsolicited advice. You know, as men get all irritated when you start giving us advice. Now, the truth is you're loving. That's your caring nature, right? That's what you do. Oh, what's going on? Oh, would you need this? It's demonstrating caring. Often when women are giving caring, it turns a man off. Whereas what he prefers, just ignore him. If he's in a bad mood, don't act like you care at all. He's in his cave. Hey, I'm going to go to the movies. Or I'm going to go shopping. Trust does not mean to expect anybody to be perfect. That's what trust is. You're a wonderful person. You're the person for me, even though you're not perfect. That's what trust is. Trust is not giving advice. So you just back off. Some women say, well, if I don't give him advice, he'll never want to get my advice. He needs it. And you know what's really true? When you back off from giving advice until he asks, he will ask. You have a lot to give to him. But he's not about to let you know it if he senses, you believe you really need my help here, buddy. Without me, you're not going to get there. So that's that sense of independence. A man has that need for independence, for you to trust he can deal with things himself. And there's a variety of ways you can give it. And that's how you love a man. The way a man shows his love is by caring. So if I'm a man, and let's say I wanted more trust in my relationship. I want my wife to like accept me and see I'm a good guy and, you know, stop asking all these questions. Where'd you go? What's going on here? What I have to do, or like I want to make an investment. And what are you going to spend here? What are you going to do here? What I have to do is demonstrate caring. I said, well, let me hear what you're saying. Let me take your thoughts into consideration. Let me hear you. It's the whole secret, man. If you want women to just let go of trying to change you, just trust you're fine the way you are. You've got to hear them, and you've got to demonstrate consideration. Just listen. I'm not talking about listening. Yep, she's gone on. Okay, I'll listen for 5 minutes here. Okay, oh, yeah. That's your mom. Let her go. We're not talking about that. We're talking about doing your best to be sincere. Now, I'm not talking about being another Venusian. You know, one Venusian's going like this, another Venusian goes, oh, okay, let's go this. You know, they're all like going together. He can't do that. You don't want your man to be another Venusian. You lose your attraction to him. So that's the first, caring and understanding. I think you get a sense of the reciprocal nature of these things. What are the next set of needs? The next set of needs is understanding. Women need understanding, and men need to feel accepted. They need to feel like you don't have to change. I don't have to change to win your love. I don't have to be different to be lovable. I might have to do some things to make you happy, but to be lovable, I'm fine just the way I am, and you accept me just the way I am. I don't have to be rehabilitated to win your love, to be loved. That's what men need a whole lot. Now, women deserve that and need that too, but that's not their primary need. Their primary need is to be understood. And I'll give you a brief example of that. One day in the first few years of my marriage, Bonnie was really upset. Tornado spinning around. I went, okay, sometimes she gets upset like this, no problem. I'll just go for a drive. So I'm like going out the door. She says, where are you going? I said, I thought I'd go for a drive. Now you're going to go for a drive? I just felt like going for a drive. Do you see what I'm going through? I said, that's exactly why I'm going for a drive. Now, every woman knows in the room you don't feel very loved in that moment. But what I'm giving on Mars is complete acceptance. Hey, you can be upset. I'm just going to go off somewhere else and have a good time. When you're happy, I'll be back. That's not happiness to a woman. That's not love to a woman. What she said, and she told me right there, she says, I don't want you just to leave and let go of the whole thing. I want you to know why I'm upset. I want you to understand what I'm going through. That's what she needs. She just needs someone to know why she's going through this. And this is the miracle, men. Then she feels better. And even better, she thinks you made her feel better. She doesn't want any answers from you. She don't want any solutions from you. She only wants you to understand her suffering. And if you don't understand her suffering, she'll make you suffer. It's true. It's true. You know it's true. Anytime there's conflict between you and your partner, practically, man, you can just go, oh, I should have just kept my mouth shut. Just listen. But I came out, I started trying to change her and fix her and do the whole thing. That's not what she needs. What does she need? She needs somebody to understand her. But if I follow my instincts and I don't learn and take time to learn the differences between men and women, what's going to happen is I'll just follow my instincts. And I'll give her what I think is loving. You're in a bad mood? Okay, I'll ignore you. See, if I'm in a bad mood, I'm a man. I want to be ignored. I want her to act as if, oh, John's in a bad mood, going through stress, he's handling it. I'll just act like everything's okay. That's what men want. Don't make a big deal out of it. Don't get all upset about it. Don't take it personally. Just assume it's temporary, it's going to pass. Don't go in there and try to make things better. Leave him alone. Let him be a grown-up. He somehow, I tell my wife this when she gives me directions in the car. She says, honey, you know, somehow when you're not in the car, I get places. It's amazing. Just accept me. I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. So the bottom line here is when you listen, then if you listen to a woman first, that's the lady's first thing. If you listen to her first, then she'll be more accepting of what you have to say. She'll be more trusting of what you have to say. Then she might even agree with what you have to say. They've shown in studies that most women have 40% more neural connectors between the emotional part of the brain and the talking part of the brain. Women literally have superhighways. Automatic internet connection from feelings to talking. And another recent research has been shown in the brain that shows that women will tend to use many parts of the brain at a time, multitask, whereas men will tend to use one part of the brain at a time. They could be doing the same task, but men will be in one part of the brain. And a woman will do the same task, equally the same, no big difference, but she's using many parts of the brain. So this explains why conversation can be so taxing for men. If a man is listening, he has to be up in this part of the brain. If he tries to relate to your feelings, he has to run back to this part of the brain. If he tries to figure out why you're feeling that, he has to go over here. And if he wants to figure out what am I supposed to do about that, he has to go up to this part of the brain. Then he has to plan whether I want to say anything. He goes back over to think about the consequences of saying that. And then he comes up here to say something. And then he listens to what you're saying now, and he realizes that you've completely changed the subject. So what do I do? It's just a different process. One's not better. It's just instinctive and it's natural. So then we want to move on to the third reciprocal quality of love. And this is really, really significant because this is about motivating your partner. And particularly men, more than women, need to be motivated to do things. You notice women are always going, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do this, he used to do this, he used to do this, now he doesn't do that, he doesn't do that, he doesn't do that. It's not just your husband. It happens to all men. Is that men need something to be motivated, and women don't. See, to be motivated, women just do it. They do it, they do it, they do it, then they overdo, then they resent. What women need is something that, as an antidote to the resentment that comes up. Now, ultimately, she should be responsible for that, which is, hey, I've given too much, let me go give to myself so I'm full again, and then keep giving in my relationship. But if I can help the process by giving her a particular kind of love, and that love is called respect. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. We know that song forever. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Women need respect more than anybody, more than the Martians. Martians will demand it. Women are like, wait, when am I going to get the respect? When I honor, respect what my wife's wishes and needs are. She says, oh, I like going and spending time with this group. And I go, oh, that group's a waste of time. That's ridiculous, stupid stuff. What did I just do? I stomped on something she values. I didn't respect it. So as a result, she's not going to be able to feel love from me. Or it's going to be harder for her to feel love from me. So you learn to respect the old toilet seat thing. It's this big, huge chore, I'll tell you. I got a house of 3 girls and a wife, female dog and a female bunny. So when that toilet seat is left up, I can't blame it on anybody else. Oh, somebody else did it, not me. It's always my fault. You got to keep that thing down. And that's a way of saying, I'm respecting you. And a man could come back to, why don't you respect me? I have to bend down and do that. Because if you respect a woman, show her, find little ways, big ways, whatever, to show respect for her, demonstrate respect for her, the response you get is the other kind of love, which is what man needs the most. What men need is to be appreciated. These are little ways you can do it, women. Oh, that makes sense. Oh, what a good idea. You go to a movie with a guy, always find something good about the movie and say it. If it's an awful movie, he says, how'd you like the movie, honey? What he's really saying inside is, boy, that was a terrible movie. Was there anything redeeming in it so I don't feel like a total failure? Translation, he says, how was the movie, honey? The wise woman goes, Takes a little while to find a moment that was good. And she says, you know, that photography of the sunset was unbelievably beautiful. And he goes, okay, it was a good movie. All right. So that's the exciting thing, is to know you have a huge power to appreciate men, to fill them up with love by just acknowledging the little things he does. And when I say that, women also need to be appreciated as well. But first, their primary thing is the respect. Then they can appreciate more. And they'll appreciate the man more, and they'll appreciate themselves more. And they won't be so needy for the man to value her. Because the truth is, if you're not feeling respected, you're never going to believe you're valued. You can say, but I do appreciate you. And she's going to be thinking, if you appreciated me, then you would do these things. So it's learning to get love, we have to learn how to ask for love. But before we can ask, we've got to make sure we're understanding what our partner needs. Now, those are the 3 most important love needs. There's also 3 others, but they're really very subordinate. I can briefly go over them. One is what a man needs is encouragement, which is kind of, oh, yeah, you can do that, John. I'm sure you can do that, as opposed to, I'm thinking about doing this. Oh, but you can't do that because of this and this and this. It's like another version of trust. You can do it. I believe in you. The other side of that, for a woman, what she needs is reassurance. Men, you just have to get. She says, well, how do I look? Do you notice this cellulite? And some guys will go, yeah, honey, but everybody over 40 gets that stuff. No big deal to me. If you want to go work out at the gym, I'll handle it. I'll go with you. You don't say that. You look and you go, honey, I just see you. I see years of a lifetime of love with you. I love you. Don't get baited. Okay? See the women clapping, okay? Yeah. You know, sometimes you don't take communication literally. You have to hear what's being heard. And quite often women will say, well, do you love me? Do you really love me? A guy goes, well, right now I don't. You know, don't ever say that. She's asking for, why is she asking? She's not mistrusting you. That's what a man hears. What she's asking for is just give me some reassurance. Now, one of the ways women can give men a little encouragement is like in a communication where a man's been listening for a while. He feels like, I'll never have a happy woman again in my life. After you're done, you just say this one magic phrase. It'll make a world of difference. Honey, thanks so much for listening. It really helps. I feel so much better. I just needed to get it off my chest, and now I feel better. I don't have to solve all those problems. Thanks so much for listening. And he'll go, okay, I did that. I did that. Another dual love needs is a man to cherish a woman. When you really cherish, when you really, you're so delicious. I love you just the way you are. When you have those moments of just cherishing her beauty, her exquisiteness, her strength, whatever it is, you cherish her. And when you can cherish a woman, then what you'll get, men, is her admiration. She'll look up to you. She'll see that, you know, sometimes you're a slob, but you're the greatest guy in the world. You know, it's just, but it's reciprocal. And women, if you admire a man or some of the things he does or some of the things he thinks, then what happens is he's able to cherish his relationship with you and cherish you more. And the last reciprocal needs is validation and approval. They're kind of similar, but they're actually very different. What women want is, even if you just completely disagree with her and what her perspective is, validate it. You're a woman, you have your own right, you have your perspective, we see things differently, but you have a right to that. What men need is a sense of approval. Not that you have to agree with him or say what he's doing is good, but find something good in his motivation or his intention. Let's say you're anti-war. You can't approve of war, but you can approve of people wanting to protect themselves, people wanting to protect their children. Find something that you see as good. See the good. And that's what women have enormous potential to do when their heart is open. Let me find the good in this. And as you find the good in a man, you pull that good out of him. And men, as you find validity and validate where a woman's coming from, she will be able to give you the goodness inside of her and see the goodness in you. So with this understanding of love, what our partner needs, we have huge power. We're no longer victims. I'm not getting this, I'm not getting this. You have the power to give your partner what they need, and automatically you will start getting more of what you need back. But there's one hook. You'll get a tendency from them, but still, if they're not educated, they still won't know what you need back. So in our next segment, what we're going to explore is how to be specific to ask your partner what you want. If you ask and they're not getting what they need, they're going to be less inclined to give. But if you give them what they need, so their heart is full, or do your best, then when you ask, you've got a cooperative, willing, enthusiastic, happy partner, thrilled to do whatever you wish. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. This third segment of the program is incredibly important because each part is equally important. In the first part of the program, we learn to accept the differences, understand the differences, and recognize why things aren't working. It gives us hope. It gives us clarity. It gives us a realization that we really need to take time to spend a lifetime trying to understand the opposite sex. People say, you must really understand women. I say, I'm still just beginning. There's so much. Even though, like, I'm a big therapist or expert, I'm not a therapist and expert at home. I'm just a husband. And so you try to give them the best of your ability what they need. And with the second part of the program, we got a little more validation, a little bit more understanding of what our partners may need. Because sometimes our partners aren't even able to articulate clearly what they need, or they speak a language that we don't understand. I'll give you one example of a situation where I realized how I was putting all this effort and I really didn't need to. And making my wife happy was much easier than I thought. We were going through a remodeling. And I just want you to know that remodeling is one of the biggest causes of divorce. Okay, it is. And part of why it's so difficult is that women, as we've explored, they're very expanded under stress. They see everything, they hear everything, they feel everything, and men have higher levels of dopamine, which allows them to live in the future. So a man comes home to a mess. He says, yes, but soon it will look so good. You know how that happens sometimes when, you know, you're saying, oh, this is terrible, and somebody says, yeah, but it's going to look so good when it's done. A man goes, yeah, it's going to look so good when it's done. And he can live in the mess. Woman can't. She's going, I don't care about what it's going to be. I care about what's happening now. And she'll feel invaded by all the workers. That's another one, invasion happening. Whereas the guy comes home, he feels like the king, but they're my troops. You know? So there's a difference here. And again, it's like taking time to understand if she's really upset about this, why she's upset, be compassionate, be understanding, be caring, be validating and supportive. These are all things that we have to learn to do and recognize she's different. She's not going to see the world the way we do. So here we were doing this stressful experience and going through this remodel, which was costing twice as much as what it was supposed to cost and taking twice as long, which just made it more difficult for my wife to endure and go through. So we're going through this whole thing, and I'm realizing I'm trying to do my best and do what I know to be supportive. And I know one way I can be supportive is under times of stress to, like, really help out a lot with chores. And so the last week of the project, that tends to be when the biggest tension is there. It's like right at the end, which is A man thinks, well, why would it be at the end? Because after all, we're just about done. On Venus, that's when the big upset starts coming. Right when it's about over, that's when they start to feel all their upset about how long it took. So I figured, okay, I'm really going to be attentive during this week. So that week, I did the dishes and cleaned the kitchen, and it was spotless. I'm talking like miracle kitchen, sparkling everywhere. For 7 days, I did this. And I was really putting all this energy into it and everything. And then on that 7th day, when the whole thing was done, she was sharing some feelings. And at a certain point, she goes, "You're just so unsupportive." And I went, "But honey, I did the dishes every day. The kitchen was spotless." She goes, "I know. But you didn't even bring me flowers." And that was for all the benefit of the men. Men, flowers or wash dishes? Which is it? Flowers. Think. One of the greatest things you can give to a woman. I mean, this is worth this program right here. This one thing. I got it behind me. I got it over here. This to make a point. Also, it also makes this room quite wonderful. Flowers. Flowers have a magical effect on women. They do. They just do. It's nature. Women, see, like here's this whole crazy environment. Women are affected more by their environment than men. Men can blank out the environment. Women are much more affected by the environment. They're more sensitive to that. When there's chaotic energy around, they get chaotic. So when flowers are around, what's going to go on? Our candles, fireplace. Why is romance associated with flowers and fireplaces burning? Because these are natural elements. Natural elements. Swimming as well. Sunshine as well. Women need to be connected to the natural elements. And if there's a lot of craziness, you need to bring natural elements in. And bringing flowers is a real secret. You know, when I first understood this, then I said, okay, well, if women like flowers so much, why don't I just get her a big potted plant of flowers? And all the women are laughing. Men thought that was a good idea. Then you don't have to do it once. But the women are laughing. A potted plant doesn't work. A potted plant, although it's beautiful, whatever, and she might like that, that's just another child she has to take care of. Cut flowers, she doesn't have to take care of. They go in the vase. They die in a week or 2 weeks. Then you have to replace them. And when you replace them, there's also a kind of love you're giving. You're reassuring her. Remember, reassurance is one of the needs women have. By getting those flowers, you're reassuring her that you still cherish her, that she's special, that she's still valuable to you, and that she is like a flower. You get this flower. I see flowers, I think of my wife, and I bring the flowers home. And it's amazing how many men will hear this and not do it. Now, women, you're going to hear this and go, he heard the whole tape, and he still didn't buy me flowers. Why did he not do it? Well, first of all, I want you to know, when a guy carries flowers, it's kind of embarrassing. It's kind of wimpy. Now, not for me, though. And see, in the beginning when I carried flowers, I was kind of like embarrassed and hiding them. But now I'll go to the airport with flowers, and I feel like a samurai. You know, like a guy carrying his sword. I got my sword. Man has no problem carrying a sword. The modern man now has a laptop computer, which is a big joke because he just plays games on the airplane. But whatever. He's got his laptop computer. He's carrying it. It's his tool. I carry flowers as my tool now. And I walk through with pride holding my flowers up. And this is also a metaphor for what works in relationships. Little things make a big difference, and particularly on Venus. You know, if you ignore a woman for a month and then say, now we're going to go on a wonderful vacation, the guy's thinking, well, so what if she's ignored for a month? We're going to go on this great vacation. Her thinking is the vacation is one thing. If you had done this and done this and done this and done this and then the vacation, that would be the 15th thing. So in a sense, women and men score points differently. Women give you 1 point for every act of love, no matter how big or small. Now this is like thinking wise, man. If you can only afford 12 roses, don't buy them all at once. Because you get 1 point. And if you only make it so much money, don't put it all into one vacation. Budget, go 1 day less, take that extra money, and now spend it on flowers every week. And you find out so that you're bringing in fresh flowers, they die, and you're there to take them out and put them back in. And you're like right there reassuring her and giving her that. That's the whole secret, doing little things. What's another little thing, which is just as important as flowers? Miraculous miracle thing to make women happy? To nurture her, support her, make her feel like she's with this wonderful guy. Jewelry, somebody says. Jewelry. Jewelry's nice. Absolutely. Jewelry, anything beautiful, giving her something beautiful. There's kind of a limit how much jewelry after a while you can get. What I'm going to tell you now is something that costs nothing. And you can do it every day, and there's no end to it. And it's called affection. This is the secret. I told you before about oxytocin. Oxytocin goes up in a woman, and her sense of well-being increases. You can bring a baby into the room, her oxytocin levels go up. You can also just stroke her body. Just touch her, hold her hand, oxytocin levels go up. Put your arm around her, oxytocin levels go up. Look her in the eyes, oxytocin levels go up. Compliment her dress, oxytocin goes up. You're really looking for an exciting night tonight? Notice her shoes and her earrings. Oxytocin levels go magnetic, okay? Huge. If she gets her hair cut, notice. It's an interesting thing women will do. They give you all kinds of hidden opportunities to score points. They'll tell you on Tuesday, I'm getting my hair cut on Thursday. It took me the longest time to figure out what was going on. I said, why do I care if you're getting your hair cut on Thursday? But they're kind of giving you advance warning so that it can seem as though you just noticed. So when you just go out of your way to try to notice things, just kind of make it a goal. When I come home from work today, I'm going to try to notice something about my wife. You get a point for that. But the real big one is the affection. It's just simply coming over and touching. Now, basically, you want to have about 5 to 10 meaningful interactions every day, and you're going to have a happy woman. Now, some guys will say, well, does that mean I can just stand next to her and touch her 10 times? I go, no, that's one touching session. So the secret here is knowing little things make a big difference for women. Lots of little things adds up. Men don't understand that because men really only need one big thing. You know, give him what he wants once and he's happy for weeks, okay, or days or whatever. He really measures certain things. And, of course, there's the obvious bedroom activity that can just completely make a guy totally happy. But there's something else, which is simply accepting his mistakes and forgiving his mistakes. Let's say I make a little mistake, and you forgive it, like, oh, it's okay, no big deal, I can handle this. If it was a little mistake, you get 10 or 15 points for that. Let's say it's a big mistake. Let's say he's late an hour. You have to wait, all this. And you say, hey, you know, I know you're really busy, and I know you do your best, and I'd appreciate if you call next time, at least try to remember. You know what you just scored? 50 points. Now, if he was late 2 hours, guess what you score? 100 points. If he was late 3 hours and you forgive him, you go in the Hall of Records. Truly, he will never forget that moment. He'll never forget it his whole life. That's what men remember, is the times they are forgiven. That's what they remember. If you just forgive, learn to forgive. He knows, and if he doesn't know, you can say, well, I did wait 2 hours. It was really uncomfortable, and I went through a bunch of my stuff. I know you're doing your best and everything. You're a guy, but I'd really appreciate if you could remember to give me a call. He's going to go, wow, God, there is a God. Thank you so much to have a wife like this. Now, that's a tall order. I don't expect, and you shouldn't expect men, your wife, to just get that right away. But that's an ideal. That's an aspiration to move towards, is to be able to find forgiveness. So the bottom line is learning when we can do little things for each other, or for men, learning certain big things that you do, they go a long way. When you can give that, then you can get what you want if you want more in a relationship. Never expect more until your partner's getting what they need. Then when you want more, ask for more in small increments. That's the whole secret. Never give a man a list of 10 things that he needs to change. Never even tell him what he needs to change. Basically, what women will often do is say, we're never romantic. Why don't we go out anymore? We don't do this. You used to do this. Now we do this. He cancels all that. Not only will you not get what you want, but you got minus points. Men are always deleting points for those types of things, and so do women. We all do it to some extent. So instead of criticizing, you shift your communication skill and say, honey, let's do something special this weekend. Would you take me out to dinner? You ask. He goes, well, okay. And he goes, I don't know, I don't do it. Okay, I'll do it. And you cheerfully say, I'll do it. And you do it. Do it 2 or 3 times, and I promise you, then you ask him to do it. And he'll go, gosh, she did it 3 times. I'll do it. Okay? And then when you really have a good time and appreciate him without pointing out the waiter was late, why didn't we get reservations, what's wrong with this food, why did we pick this restaurant, without any criticism, then he'll have a positive experience of taking you out. He'll be more motivated to do it on his own. And after a while, he'll think like, okay, I've done that, and forget to do it. That's when you have to ask him to do it again. That's the living with a man. You have to learn to ask. That's part of life, is learning to ask for what you want. You give, and then you ask for what you want, and try to be brief, try to be direct, try to be non-demanding, and try to put it in a positive sense. Now, this all seems very easy, but it takes time to put together. These ideas, although they make sense, have never been put to use in the world. Men and women have never been so close together. Men and women have never had the opportunity to deeply understand each other as we have today. And with this understanding, we can come closer. We're trying to get closer. We're trying to create a world of cooperation and harmony between men and women and between everybody. It's really a message of accepting differences, because that's what's happening now in the world. We're all coming together. And what will bring us together is the acceptance of differences, the validation of differences, the working together with differences. And in a certain sense, when you take the effort necessary to create harmony in your relationship, where you're living with someone from another planet, you're not just helping your own relationship. You're taking a little step there. But in the words of our astronauts, you're taking a big step for all mankind. Because all it takes is some people starting, then other people start. We're all part of a big family here. And that's how I hold it in myself, not just because I teach this stuff, but those difficult times when it's hard. I'd rather just run, give up. I go, wait a second. If I can't do this, who can do this? So I commit myself to doing that. And I work through it, and I try to understand. I use it, I try to, what am I missing here? It's like having a machine. If it doesn't work, and this is what you get with a computer. If the computer doesn't work, you try to figure out the software to improve it. You don't think something's wrong with the computer. Most of us in our relationships, as soon as something doesn't work, what's our first conclusion? Something's wrong with my partner, or something's wrong with me. Instead of, I'm not using the software correctly. I need to refer back to the owner's manual. When you learn any new skill, there's a learning curve. Slowly you build up, build up, build up. It takes a little effort, a little more time, takes some study, takes making lots of mistakes. You forget every step that you learn. You go back. Remember, you go back. You make a mistake. Please, don't expect your partner to get this right away. They might hear this, be inspired. They'll do it for a few days, a few weeks, and then they'll forget. So you either review the material or you start using it yourself. You start asking for what you want, but you've got to go through the learning curve. We can't expect our partners or ourselves to do it right. We need to explore, we need to experiment, we need to make mistakes, we need to strive. But it's silly and ridiculous to strive without education. We need to recognize it's a new skill, and we need practice, and we need education. And I appreciate you all for being a part of this and being committed to making your relationships better, giving the love that your partners deserve, and getting the love that you deserve. Thank you all so much for being a part of this.